that shows up to take care of what we steward here, what we try to steward. So to kind of get things kicked off, how many people here have ever seen 1,000 dolphin? Anyone? 1,000 dolphin? Yes? Awesome. Is anybody here? Yes? Has anybody here ever seen a blue whale? Woo! Okay, awesome. So, where were you when you saw your blue whale?
A few miles off this coast.
You guys hear that? A few miles off the coast. What about 1,000 dolphin? Where were you?
I saw the blue whale.
You saw the blue whale.
Most Manhattan.
Awesome. Okay. How about 1,000 dolphin? Who raised their hands? Where were you, Vicki?
Right offshore on my paddleboard.
Okay. So it's kind of a staged question, right? Because Dana Point is one of the few places in the world where you can go and see 1,000 dolphin. We have more wild dolphin here per square mile than anywhere else in the entire planet. And we also have the world's largest population of blue whales every summer. And it gets even better. We have 10 species of dolphins and whales that we see throughout the year. Throughout the year. 5 species of dolphin, 5 species of whales, right here in your backyard. It's incredible. There are people who come here from all over the world, literally, to come and see what we can go out and see any day of the week if we've got the time. So what we wanted to share with you is that about 30 years ago, when Captain Dave and I first met, we both had boats of our own on Sea Dock, and we met. We were both taking people out, passionate about the animals and wanting to share what we saw. And Dave was a captain, and I was just a girl with a boat, and we started having fun taking people out. And it was such a joy to see what fun people had out there with these dolphin. And no one understood that these animals were there year-round. No one had ever gone out year-round. So Dave said, I think if we start going year-round, people might come. So let's try it. So we did. So we started first year-round whale watching here in Dana Point. It was the only place you could go year-round on just an excursion, not just a gray whale trip in the winter or out fishing, but to actually go out and see dolphins and whales. And within 10 years, quite a few companies sprang up around Southern California. And of course, Dana Wharf had been here many years, and we owe them a great debt because they started gray whale watching here in Dana Point. And so Dave and I, when we travel, we would go out and see to places that had dolphins and whales. That's where we would go. And we would travel to Spain and Portugal, and I mean, we save up, we're gonna go and we're just gonna try and have a really good, but we're always gonna go somewhere where we can see these animals. And we finally did our big trip to New Zealand, and I wanted to see these massive amounts of dolphin that I had heard that they had. And they actually had a dolphin center, and so we were really ramped up to go. And we went out in a bay that was very similar to the space that we have here between here and Catalina and Palos Verdes. So imagine a bay that big. And we're heading out on a 4-hour trip, and I asked the captain and crew, I'm visiting with them, so how big is this population of dolphin? And he says, a couple of hundred. Couple of hundred? Like, we see pods of dolphin up to 10,000. And on a regular basis, a weekly basis, a couple of thousand. Wow. And where are they? Well, they're somewhere in here. Okay. And it's blowing like crazy. Whitecaps everywhere. And we generally go out, all throughout the day. People ask, when's the best time? Well, the dolphins don't care. But there in the morning, it's a little easier to see them. So we're out there in this bumpy, wet, white conditions looking for spouts, and it's pretty tough. It was 4 hours, and it only got windier and rougher. And I asked them, a little rumor I'd heard that David told me, so how many of your trips do you have to cancel because of weather? And they said, a third. A third? Oh my gosh, like how do you even run a business that way, right? Can you imagine a third of our days being canceled because of weather? So I said, but this just doesn't make sense to me. And when you see dolphins, how many do you see in a pod? Oh, we see as many as 50. Okay, so somehow, some way, there's a disconnect because what you guys have, and I'm thinking in my head, what you guys have and what we have is so vastly different. But somehow people know about New Zealand, but they don't know about Dana Point. So I came home, and I could give you a list of other places we have been. There's an entire industry built around one dolphin in Ireland. One dolphin for 30 years. Sadly, he passed away, and so did the industry, But so we came home, and I reached out to Donna, and we both went to a visitors meeting, and we sat across the table, and we said, what would happen if together these two competing companies got together, and what would happen if we got on the same side of the table and we both embraced what we have here at Dana Point? Wouldn't that just be amazing? And so Donna said, I'm in, let's do it. So together we went to Trademark Services, and we decided we would try and get Dana Point trademarked as the dolphin and whale watching capital of the world. And they said, well, what makes you think you're the dolphin and whale watching capital of the world? And we said, well, let us tell you. So we put together a list of things, and one of the things was 10 species of dolphin that you could see throughout the year, not just 3 months a year, like in Alaska or Baja, but throughout the year. You could come out with us any day of the year, and you could go to our sightings log, and you can look and see. Sometimes we have something that we call a trifecta or a fourfecta, where we see 3 and 4 species of animals on the same trip. That's how amazing it can be right here. So we explained, well, we've got these 10 species of dolphin. And to be fair, that can happen if you go on a boat out of Newport or out of Long Beach or Santa Barbara or Monterey or San Diego. But there are things that make Dana Point special, and I want to share that with you. So first and foremost, is this not the most beautiful place? I mean, really. I've had my boat in a few different harbors. Nothing compares to Dana Point. It's stunning. Look at these. Look at this. Right? The most romantic place on the coast, said Richard Henry Dana, and I would agree. It's stunning. But Dana Point has something that no one else has besides the beauty. It is 1 mile away from these deep coastal canyons. So if you look up at Saddleback Mountain, which is a couple of thousand feet high, and you then go, let's say we drained the ocean, you would go out 1 mile, and then you'd look down at a place that's as deep as Saddleback is high. Follow me? So imagine if this whole area out here was a pool. We are in the deep end of the pool. If you're out of Long Beach and Newport or Redondo, you've got to go where? Where are you going? Where are you going? Here. So you can look out from our beautiful viewing spots up here, and you might just see boats from other places, and they're here. More often than not, this is where they are. And they just have to jet out. Now, on average, they might have to go 3 to 5 miles to get into really deep waters. And there are some animals who don't care. They're coastal, they don't care. But there's a lot of animals who love the deep water because there's these nutrient-rich, cold waters, and the nutrients come up, and where the nutrients come up, the little fish are feeding on the phytoplankton, and where the little fish are, dolphins are. Where the little fish are, humpback whales are. Where the little fish are krill. Where the little krill are, there are whales. So we just get this plethora of animals that are hanging out here. I'm going to tell you a quick story. It wasn't on my list of things to tell you, but I got to tell you. Because this just drives home the point. In the beginning, maybe 25 years ago, somebody saw some of Captain Dave's footage of these stampeding dolphin pods. Dana Point's famous for the stampeding dolphin. Literally, we have gabillions of views on our YouTube channels between us and Dana Wharf. Millions and millions and millions. We've made famous dolphin stampedes. There's very few places in the world you can go and see a stampede. So Dave gets a phone call. Hey, I'm a producer for IMAX Films, and I saw some of your footage of these stampeding dolphins. So do you think that would ever happen again? Could we come out and maybe capture that? Because we're making a film on dolphins, and the director, Greg McGillivray, has been all over the world, and they're getting ready to wrap it in a month, and they would like to maybe get some footage of this. He's never seen anything like this. So Dave says, sure, we can give it a shot. So I'm like, okay, great, we'll book 2 days with you guys, and we'll go out and see what we can find. So we leave the harbor at 7 in the morning on day one. They've brought 48 minutes of this massive IMAX film and their portable, studio and all this. We had to get a bigger boat. And so we head out, and the crew are local. These are local guys. And they're surfers, and they're like, yeah, we see dolphin, we've seen dolphin, 5'10" dolphin. We see the bottlenose dolphin. And we're like, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about a lot of dolphin. And I have to tell you, we pray. Dave and I pray a lot. And it's kind of hazy and overcast. I go, please, can we just please get a nice big pot of dolphin? So just to break the ice, I said to them, would you guys like to take bets? What time do you think we might see at 7? What time do you think we might see a big pod? And they're like, I don't know, 3 this afternoon. We were booked all day, maybe 2, 1. So we're heading out of the harbor, heading for the drop-off. And I look up at Dave on the bridge, and he turns around, he goes, we got this. There they are. Aww. And literally, you couldn't have timed it better. Up comes this pod of 2,000 dolphins. We spent the entire day with them. By 3 o'clock, these guys had shot every minute of film they brought with them. They were stunned. And the dolphins, sometimes they were milling around and having lunch, and sometimes they were just kind of hanging out and chilling, and sometimes they were stampeding. It was just stunning, and the day was beautiful, and the water was like a mirror, and they're out there in the front, but there are these massive cameras, and Greg McGillivray is there. The director, he's there. And he said, I had no idea that this was right here off our coast. Does anybody know where Greg McGillivray lives? Vicki?
On the beach in Laguna.
On the beach in Laguna. So a local guy who's shooting a film on dolphins all over the world doesn't know what's right in his own backyard. Now he does. And now you do. So once we had gone to the patent and trademark office, and we told them about some of these things, as well as our, a proximity to the animals, they said, okay. And so we ended up getting 6 trademarks, and you might see the little signs on the freeway telling people about that. But the other thing that Donna said is, she said, I have always dreamed of being a whale heritage site. And both companies had become certified as responsible whale watching companies by the World Cetacean Alliance, which is a really big deal in our little corner of the world. So we said, what would it look like if we did it together? And we became a whale heritage site. It's an enormous process. It takes a good year to apply, and it requires some things. And this is where you come in. This is where the efforts that Vicki imagined and spearheaded and founded, and then all of you participating monthly comes in. Because what it required was that, and the founder of World Cetacean Alliance described it to me this way. He said, here's what a whale heritage site looks like to me. You get off the plane or the bus, and you walk into that town, and you look around and you go, these people love dolphins and whales. Everywhere I look, I see dolphins and whales. I see artwork. I see statues. I see companies taking people out to see them. I see people cleaning up the community. I see groups designed to protect them and help them. And that's what Dana Point is. We have a whale disentanglement team that Captain Dave visualized, over 20 years ago, because there was no one to come and help dolphins and whales. Now, NOAA has come down every year and helps train. We have level 1, level 2, and level 3 responders here. So when a whale goes by, and sadly they do, they're entangled in fishing gear, fishing nets, we can assemble a team in record time, not 3 or 4 hours because they have to come up from San Diego or Los Angeles. We can pull a team together. We've got 2 local boats that are both perfect for that kind of thing. We have a support boat. We have team trained. They've been trained to pull this gear off. And we've probably worked on almost 20 whales in that period of time. About a third of them have been helped. That's a pretty good number in that industry. I wish it was 100%. We have a much lower level of ocean trash. Between the 2 companies, we've picked up thousands of balloons, you guys. We have an initiative here, Balloons Below, Don't Let Them Go. Laguna Beach, and hopefully soon Dana Point, no more balloons with the helium, right? Because you let them go, you're inland, guess where they go? Right over here, and then they come down. It's really heartbreaking right after Valentine's Day and graduations. We pick up these massive amounts of these Mylar balloons, and the ink comes off, and pretty soon you've got a clear, puffy bubble that looks like a jellyfish. And Rizzo dolphins love those. Some other whales love those. They ingest them, and that's it. It's over for them. So we're educating people. Both companies are involved in both citizen science as well as sharing information and having research teams come out. There's a Rizzo's Dolphin Project. There's a Common Dolphin Project where we share research. So research, citizen participation, we have both, and everything from the local Chamber of Commerce up to the county, who are on our steering committee, all contributing great ideas, programs, things we can do to continue to move forward. And the thing that makes us the most, there are now 8 whale heritage areas in the world, and there are 10 candidate sites. It takes a long time to get approved. It's not just pay us if you know, and we'll get you in. It takes a long time. You need responsible whale watching companies. We have to be recertified for that every year, all of that. But the number one thing that they all love about us, that no other site in the world has, is our whale festival. Did you know that the Dana Point Dolphin and Whale Festival is the oldest festival in the world? It was the first whale festival that Donna's dad started. And I said to Donna, you know, your dad had the first whale festival. And she's like, really? Yes. And it's the longest consecutive running festival. And no one has ever had a festival going on that many years. Over almost 55 years. Every year, you guys, even during COVID, we did it. So we're just continuing on, and they love us, and they love having Donna talk to them about how to do their own whale festival. We helped Santa Barbara become another whale heritage area. They're doing a killer job up there with it. And they're gonna have their whale festival, their second one. So we love sharing this information. So we're so blessed here. And when we can come to them and say, we have an organization like Stand Up to Trash that meets every month, and this is how much trash they've picked up. They love that. They love that. So you make us look really good. And I am grateful to you, as is Donna. I wish she could be here this morning too. But anyway, thank you all. You all deserve a big round of applause. Now, before you go, before you leave, well, we'll put them over there with lunch. On our trips, we serve my triple fudge brownies that I've been making for decades. I won't tell you how long. And so we give them on every trip. So I brought some for you guys, and I also brought you some, because everybody needs one of these. A Dolphin and Whale Capital of the World sticker. So you guys can get that out there. All right? Thank you so much. Does anybody have any questions? Vicki?
So what's your favorite thing to see when you're out whale watching?
Oh, gosh. That's so hard. Besides the whales? I love all of it. I think probably my most, during COVID, when like the world was going nuts, I got on a boat by myself and I would just go out and just like, please God, just show me what normal is. And there was nobody out there. You would have thought, COVID was out there too, but it wasn't, We didn't know what we were doing. And it was so beautiful. And I had some encounters out there where this one dolphin, Casper, came in a pod, and I was so excited to see him. It felt like I was getting a special visit. That was really cool. I had gone out one day with my daughter, and I love to just shut the engine off. And one of the things we do when we're looking for animals is we listen. And we try to encourage people to get out there and use their senses. Sometimes we can smell a whale before we see him, and sometimes we can hear him. Dave once located an entangled whale at night listening for him, and people said it couldn't be done, but Dave could do it. And so we were just sitting there having a brownie, and up comes this minke whale, and he's just like from here to the truck there, and he comes over like a little puppy dog, like, what are you guys eating? And he's just circling around our little boat, and he's much bigger than our little boat. We were out on our smallest boat, and he just wanted to hang out, and he hung out with us for about half an hour. We were just sitting in the water. He just circled it, and when that happens, you end up feeling like you have such a connection with these animals, and that's what I love, that when I get that connection.
How often do you see molas?
Oh gosh, almost every day. These molas are amazing. It used to be we would just see them, a handful of times a year. We saw the biggest one I think we've ever seen. It was probably 8-9 feet just in the last month. They can get up to 10 feet. These molas, they're the largest bony fish on the planet, and they're bizarre looking. Has anybody ever seen a mola? It looks like a dinner plate, kind of on its side with eyeballs, and like birds land on it, and they'll just, it's this symbiotic relationship, because the bird will land on it, peck off the little parasites, which the mole is grateful for. It's a bizarre looking fish, but they're cool. Yeah. Any other questions, Vicki?
How many people do you need for an entanglement team?
So on typically the primary vessel, the lead vessel, you've got 3 people. One person has got the pole that's got like a grappling hook or whatever it is we're trying to attach the line to. It is not easy to attach something to a moving whale. So sadly, just because we see the whale and it's got gear doesn't mean we can help the animal. The animal has to be pretty tired and weary, just exhausted, because the whale's like, get out of here. And but I will tell you that right after the very first training, 10-12 years ago, this whale we later called Bart was hanging out here for 3 days, and no one understood why. And this was back when drones first came around, and Dave was one of the first people to have a drone. So he put the drone up, when the whale was just hanging out, and he was watching, and he came home and he made that screen really big, and he said, you know what? I think this animal's got gear on it. He's not lifting his tail. I can see shadows in the water. I think he's got gear. And so he called NOAA, they called SeaWorld, and we had our team. And when the team got trained a couple of months before, they did it right over here at the Sailing and Event Center. They did the classrooms inside, and then they came out to Baby Beach, and they had fake whale, like a big fake whale, and they got in their little dinghies, and they went out, and they did a simulation. Day 3, the team is assembled. They come out at 6:30 in the morning to see if the whale's still here. Yep, the whale's still here, okay, everybody's coming. We've got the whole day ahead of us, and everyone converges, and the whale had left the outside of the harbor, came down the channel, and came right over here to Baby Beach. Like, is this where I come to get disentangled? It was surreal. So the team, oh my God, on their boats, and we were able to go all the way up the channel. Once that we started working on the whale was like, yeah, I'm out of here. You know, I really wasn't planning on this. So, but they got all the gear off just before the whale hit the mouth of the harbor, and the whale left. Unfortunately, what was that? That was Bart. Oh, it was a gray whale. Yeah, it was a young gray whale. So unfortunately, that whale passed away. It came back a couple of days later. That was the whale that Dave used to write the book. And Ellen, I heard about it. Ellen, you know, Ellen. And so she had Dave on the next time there was a disentanglement, and she had him on, and so he got to share the story, because what most people don't know is that 1,000 dolphins and whales are dying in nets and gear every day around the world. So we try to educate people when they come out on our boat. This is a big problem, you know, and so I would say if there's something you want to personally try and do about it, is ask where your fish is caught. If you're a fish eater, ask where your fish is caught. Do not buy fish that's not caught in the United States. In the United States, we have a lot of regulations, and a gill net line can be a mile long here in the United States. In other countries, they can be 30 miles. So an animal, a marine mammal, and birds and turtles, they don't stand a chance. So there's a lot of bycatch. But here in the United States, it's much better. So if you are going to be eating fish, look for the USA, you know, Alaska, or the North Atlantic, something like that. Yeah. Yes?
How do we get involved with the anti-balloon initiative that you've got going?
It's a great question. I mean, we go out and we pick them up. There is a couple who I could probably, if you come and visit me after, I could hook you up with, because we really need somebody to spearhead the Dana Point initiative. You know, Donna and I just keep getting caught up in other things. We need somebody to take it to the chamber and say, hey, can we do the same thing that Laguna Beach did? We've got everything we need, but Denise and Richard spearheaded Laguna Beach, and so I could get your information and connect the three of you up. That would be great. Yeah, and then show up when it goes before the chamber. Yeah. One more question? I know your lunch is ready. Anybody else? No? Okay, no more questions. Thank you, guys.